Welcome back, everybody. Stoney is here after his week away in Washington, D.C. Nice to see you in the flesh.
Thank you very much. Made sure the government's still running, so we took care of business.
Made sure you brought your suit this week, too, which
That's right.
I appreciate.
That's right.
Hey, listen, lots to chew on. Let's get right into the hockey because, the Wings, we finally know that they're playing the Coyotes, and it is a repeat of what we saw last year. And don't forget that Shane Doan, who's their main guy, was knocked out in the middle of last year's series.
During that series. Between Phoenix and Nashville, you'd rather play Phoenix. However, it's not going to be an easy series because Henry Zetterberg, when one of your best players is not going to be playing, and we know he's not going to be playing the first game, who knows when he'll be able to play. It was tough last year. You're right, Doan got hurt. But I think the Wings can still win without Zetterberg. It's going to be tough because Brizgalov, at least up till now, has not been as good as he was last year. The thing I worry about Phoenix in this series is special teams. When they have their power play rolling, Keith Yandel, one of the most underrated defensemen in the National Hockey League, he seems to kill the Wings.
Just a troublemaker. And you hate seeing a matchup year to year, particularly when it went 7 games last year, because that whole aura of invincibility now is absolutely gone. Phoenix knows they can play with this team. And what I want to see is Johan Franzen get going. 2 goals, that's it, since that 5-goal explosion against Ottawa. He doesn't score, this team doesn't advance to the playoffs.
Playoff time is mule time.
It is. He has done it in years past. We need it again.
I'm not worried about him. I think he'll be fine.
What do you worry about? Is Jimmy Howard the guy? You clear that he's going to be able to lead this team?
I'm not clear that he's the guy. I'm worried about the whole defense, goalie, the whole thing. That's what I'm worried about. And without Zetterberg, who knows what they're going to be able to do.
I know it's one game, but do you take anything away from the intensity that you saw from today, from the ability of this team to step up at the right time when the bell rings? People know that Red Wings are going to be ready to play.
That was a good sign because it was like a road playoff game because Chicago had to win. As it turned out, they didn't have to win, but yeah, it was good that the Wings rebounded and played hard. That's the most important thing. They play hard, they'll be okay.
The other Illich property, the Detroit Tigers, 9 games in, they have not won a series yet. You have to be a little bit worried. I gave them a pass in the first 6 games because of where they played, everything else, but to come here and lose 2 or 3 to Kansas City, kind of deflating for the fan base.
And 3 games at home with the defending American League champs, and then they go a tough West Coast trip. You don't want to get too far behind the 8 ball. There are reasons to be concerned. Their defense is as bad as we thought it was going to be. Their middle relief has been atrocious. And they've had 2 pretty good starts by Verlander, 1 by Koch. Scherzer had 1. But other than that, pitching and there's no timely hitting. And like I said, the defense. And you have guys, Austin Jackson, struggling. They got to get it going soon because, like I said, you don't want to fall too far behind. It's still way, way early to panic. But
we have seen it before. We've seen the team start out slowly and they poo-poo it. It's early in the season.
Maybe one year this will be different. Maybe Leland will get them going in the second half if he lasts that long. Because if they go on a tear where they're playing bad, I mean, they're 3-6 now. If you're talking, 7 and 15, something like that. He's on a short leash. Him and Dombrowski, but particularly Leland, did not get that extension. I don't think Mike Ilitch is going to be very patient.
Very interesting. You did have to like the opening day scene where this table is set right for Victor Martinez in the first inning and he delivers. That's what fans want to see. So the consistency hasn't been there yet, and that's what they're going to have to search for.
Absolutely. They can't, yesterday, it's a pet peeve of mine. Bases loaded, bring in a reliever, first pitch.
He's done it ever since he's been here, though. That's his thing. And every one of the sports offices is like, don't swing at the first pitch.
I know.
That's what he does.
Yeah, they got to get more timely hitting, no doubt about it. And the defense, it's concern.
No question about it. Well, I did ask some fans out there on Twitter to send us some questions.
Okay.
And we're going to naturally transition right into this topic because Gerald Forgash sends in this question. With the new ownership of the Pistons, Mike, will we see some big changes coming? What do you see afloat?
Nobody knows what type of owner Tom Gores is going to be, but I think Gores is going to, my guess is he's going to keep Dumars, at least for 1 year. That's just a guess. I have no idea. So if that's the case, I think you'll see a coaching change, and I think you'll probably see Tayshaun go somewhere else and Rodney Stuckey go someplace else, whether Joe wants it or not. As far as the head coach, if I'm Joe Dumars, Jeff Van Gundy. Whatever he wants, give him the money, you have new ownership. He's a defensive coach. This team plays horrific defense.
What about the article we saw from Mike O'Hara today suggesting that Isaiah, he's out there, he could be a candidate. Why not him as head coach of the Pistons?
He did a decent job as head coach in Indiana, but I believe that as long as Joe Dumars is the general manager of this team, there is no way either Isaiah or Bill Laimbeer will ever be the head coach under Joe Dumars. That's what I believe. I don't think he believes that those are the guys that can lead this team to the next level.
Believe it or not, we're within 3 weeks of the NFL draft. The next question is NFL related. It comes in from Todd Seberg, otherwise known as Lions fan 1977. Interesting one. If Ndamukong Suh was in the 2011 draft, do you think he would be the #1 defensive lineman.
Not only would he be the number 1 defensive lineman, I think he'd be the number 1 pick in the draft.
There is no quarterback ahead of him this year.
I agree. I mean, I'd rather have Ndamukong Suh or Cam Newton.
Yeah, when you look at who else is there, Marcel Darius, Robert Quinn, Daquan Bowers,
Yeah.
you know, there's really no comparison.
No, I mean,
I think his performance stood up for itself.
Suh's a freak.
He's a beast.
And he's our freak.
Which is nice to hear. Stonehead of the week goes to another freak.
I was just saying the same thing. Yes, Manny Ramirez. It's Manny being Manny. You probably don't have to hear that stupid expression ever again. But he would have gotten suspended, we believe, for steroids for the second time. 100 games. He said, yeah, 100 games. Nah, I'm just gonna retire. I'm not gonna face the music. Manny Ramirez, forget about Hall of Fame now. Cooperstown, because they don't want any stoneheads. You are a stonehead.
Well, I guess we should expect no less. Manny Ramirez goes out in the manner that is somewhat predictable. Thank you so much for being with us as always. Stick with us after the break. We're going to go inside Michigan football. The offensive coordinator, Al Borges, talking about his new scheme and how Denard Robinson is fitting in.